Hello everyone, I am Ellie Wildflowers and welcome to my channel. I make videos about the trailer to tiny house restoration, rehab, or remodel that I'm doing. And so today I am finally going to start putting in new floors. Today I am finally going to start putting down new flooring. It's the first big thing I've done, or like big, larger improvement since I've actually moved into the trailer. And I think it'll make a huge difference because right now it's just got this shitty old linoleum. And I'd been meaning to do it since I moved in months ago, but you know how things go, haven't done it yet. So what I'm working with is that vinyl rollout sheet flooring. I actually just have some scraps that my parents had left over from what they put down in their bathroom at home. So let me show you what the floors look like now and the new stuff that I have to lay down. So because I'm just working with scrap pieces that my parents had, I'll have to do a number of seams to get this all to fit, but I was just kind of laying out the different pieces that I have and deciding how I want it to go. But so yeah, this is the new stuff. It looks kind of like a bamboo-ish type stained wood. It's got nice colors in it, but I think it looks really nice. And then down here is just what the whole floor is right now. Not as impressive. So yeah, I've never laid floors before, and I'm a little worried about it because me and accurate measurements don't have the greatest relationship, and I think that's why I've been putting it off, because I really want it to look nice on the edges and fit properly, and I'm just kind of worried about screwing it up. But I'm eventually just gonna have to go for it. And I know I was looking up how to do it online. I'm just gonna use tape for flooring. It's like double-sided tape that you put on the edges. I'm just gonna take some measurements and see how it goes. Working in a tiny space is challenging. That's something I didn't think about before. You don't have all the excess room to be able to move around and lay everything out flat and make easy measurements that way, like with this stuff. Like, it doesn't even fit in here all the way rolled out, even though it's such small pieces. Just one of those things I never thought about. So I actually finished the floors a little while ago, but there was still some more cleaning up. There was like sticky gooey spots on it from old tape that I wanted to clean up before I filmed like a final video. But I think it turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. I think it really improves the aesthetic quality of the whole space. Like if you see behind me here, I think it just looks so much nicer. So yeah, I'm really happy about it. There's a couple spots that didn't come out perfect. I had to do a number of seams. There's a funny little square here that you can kind of see. You can see the white edge here. And there's another little patch under the bed that you can see when it's up in the couch. It's like a futon, it goes up and down. But mostly it looks fine, and I think there's a couple edges that really blended really well. Like I have to even look for them to show you. But like here you can see here's an edge, but because it goes with the grain of the pattern, it's really hard to see. And then a funny little trick I did here, I really wanted this to look really good, to be a really straight edge. But I totally screwed up and I cut in too far in a couple places. And if you can see here, my little trick to fix it is I literally just painted the floor brown. This is where the laminate ends, and then I just painted the floor in these little spots where I cut out too much. And you can see it when you're like way up close like this, but it totally helps that line look nice and straight. So that worked really well. Another thing I wanted to talk about in this video, because it came up when I was wanting to put down new floors, is an idea of like tiny house insecurity, or how the whole concept of keeping up with the Joneses still comes into effect even when you're living in a tiny house, which is supposed to be kind of breaking outside of these societal norms and doing what people expect of you. But the thing is, like, tiny houses are like really widespread now, and you know, there's tons of Instagrams and YouTubes and stuff for tiny houses, and some of them look so cool and some of them are so tricked out and were probably really expensive for like the really luxy, luxurious ones. Like people spend like 60, like 100 grand on these tiny houses. And I don't mean to like say that that's wrong, but it is absolutely a different style project than what I have going on here. And so even though I know that this tiny house that I have here is still under construction. It's not a finished project. I'm still really proud of it. I still really like it, and I kind of want to show it off to people. But when I would do that, either having like someone come over or showing pictures on Instagram or whatever, I would find myself like being hesitant to do it, or including little disclaimers of like, oh, and it's not done, and oh, it'll look so much better when the floors are in. And basically those are just little ways to try to reduce people's expectations. And sometimes I find myself not even wanting to call it a tiny house because I feel like it doesn't quite fit the category of the really nice, newly built tiny houses that you see like on those TV shows they do and on Instagram. But when I did finally put in new floors, and I saw that it did improve the quality of the space, and it did make a difference. I'm glad I did it. It really just made a clear point that that doesn't dramatically improve the achievement that I've made or the whole thing that I'm doing here. Like, I don't feel like a better person or a hugely more accomplished person or that I'm living closer to my goals and values because I laid new floors, basically is what this is. And by doing that, made my tiny house one step closer to a really, ideally show-worthy Instagram style tiny house. I wanted to mention that in this video because I was a little surprised at those kinds of insecurities and wanting to keep up with the height and trend of this little movement. I'm surprised that those kinds of nichely societal pressures still apply to me, even though I think it's pretty obvious that I try really hard not to do things just because they're societally normal. And also hopefully to encourage people who are working on their own projects that maybe aren't finished or maybe not everyone understands, and you feel the need to have to really explain it to people and maybe put disclaimers on it and try to just give people a more easily digested version or easily acceptable version of what you're doing. Basically, I just want to say, you don't have to do that. And I think that people can really clearly feel when you're explaining something to them or showing them something and there's an air of insecurity there. People pick up on that really easily, even if you're not making it super obvious. And when you describe your goals and your projects with more confidence, people are more likely to get on board. Because just like people can feel insecurity, they can feel pride and confidence and passion. So yeah. Don't feel bad if your tiny house has ugly floors because you're awesome for doing a tiny house and that's a huge accomplishment, so go you. And that's all I wanted to share today. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to keep seeing my videos, you can like and subscribe. I have the intent to start posting more consistently than I have in the past. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Another thing I wanted to talk about in this video because it... Jesus Christ.